Well, like I said, my name is Mike Massey, and I'm the Senior Practice Manager for Architecture and Engineering here at CADD Microsystems. I am excited to show you some of the new features today. Let me go ahead and advance this. Here's a little bit about me. I'm not going to spend much time about this, but if you want more information, feel free to reach out to me. And I'll be glad to help you out as much as I can. But as far as Revit 2024, I want to show you some of the new features. It's been out for several months now. I think it came out in Mayish timeframe or something like
I
that.
think it was a little
Um,
late. Usually
yeah,
comes in April, right?
yeah, April and May. We typically get a sneak peek at it, but I think it was about that time frame. But anyway, if you haven't had a chance to look at it, it is filled with a lot of new features, and so I want to show you some of those new features today. So with that, I'll just go ahead and show you all the new features all in one slide. I only got 5 minutes, so I just thought I'd show you all the features in at once here. But seriously, there are a lot of new features, and what I'm going to do today is I've picked out my top three. So we're going to show you my top three new features in 2024. But there are many others in addition to this. So I'll jump into this. My number three top feature that I want to talk about is has to do with user interface enhancements. And you may have heard about this, you may have seen this. This has been a much requested item for many years, but it is the dark theme. You can now have a dark theme set in Revit to make it easier on your eyes. So you can, there's a setting in the control panel that you can pick and choose whether you want the light theme or the dark theme. And it is for, and I want to make sure I point this out, it is for the first level user interface, which means not everything is going to be dark. For example, I've got the options dialog box, the picture of that on my screen. You can see that it's still white. So it's just for the first level, which means it's the main screen. Everything that's the palettes that are floating on your screen, all those will be dark, but if you get into some of the deeper dialog boxes, those are still going to be white. So I think it's a work in progress, but I think it's a much improved. I've started using the dark theme and I love it. It's really easy on your eyes and it's really nice. They've also introduced a bunch of new icons. Essentially, they look the same, but they've updated the icons to give it a more fresher look. Kind of modernize the icons there. So I think that's another enhancement that they've added there. Along with the dark theme, you also have they've added a new tool called Canvas Theme. So even if you set your canvas to dark, your screen to dark, you can set your canvas to white. And so you can toggle the canvas theme back and forth. So some people I know love the dark background coming from AutoCAD or coming from other CAD programs. You can do that, but now you can easily switch it back and forth on the View tab. There's a canvas theme option that you can switch back and forth between white and black. So that's the number three new feature. My number two new feature that I've got inside of Revit 2024 has to do with documentation. We spend a lot of times preparing our documents, making sure our documents are arranged the way that we want them to be arranged on our sheets. And so there's some enhancements that they've made to help this to make it easier. The first one is the ability to place multiple views on sheets. Now I'll have to tell you that you could actually do this in 2023, but in 2023, it didn't work very well. So they've made some improvements to this. What they've done is now when we place multiple views on a sheet at the same time, now it arranges them so that you can see them. In previous releases, it would just stack those views on top of each other and you'd have to go in and rearrange them. Now it does does an attempt of arranging those views on the sheet so they're not stacked on top of each other. You still may have to move them around, but at least you can do that. But you can do this through either the project browser, just by selecting multiple views in the project browser and dragging them over, or you can use the view command, which will open up the select view dialog box, which will allow you to select multiple views in there. Along with that, We've also got a ability to use a command called move align to sheets. And what this will do is if you got a view, maybe it's a detail or something like that, and you realize, hey, you know what, I really need to move this detail to another sheet. We can move this detail now and it will put it in the exact same spot that it was on the previous sheet. And so you can get to this by expanding out the views inside a project browser and right clicking and use the move align to sheet. And it will allow you to move that view very quickly to another sheet. And then finally, the last one that I've got along in this section is open sheets from a view. This is very handy. So if you're inside of a view and you want to jump to the sheet that view is on, now you can get to that sheet just by simply right clicking. So if you right click inside of a view, you have an option to open sheet, and it will go ahead and switch you over to that sheet. You can also do this in the project browser by selecting the view and right clicking and doing that. If you do happen to be in a view that is placed on multiple sheets, like maybe a legend or something like that, it will open up a dialog box to allow you to pick which sheet specifically you want to open. And then that brings us to my number one new feature inside of Revit 2024, and that is has to do with design productivity, but that is the new Topo Solid. They have completely revamped all the site tools inside of 2024. Previous releases had the command a topo surface in there, but now we have a topo solid coming in. So what they've done is completely changed out the way that the creating the surfaces work. Now we have this new command called topo solid, and it is a solid, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. But just to kind of talk about it in general terms, if you have a topo surface in an older project and you convert that project to 2024, it will automatically convert that to a topo solid. You can link topography from either a CAD file or from a CSV file or from a civil file. You can still do that. But it's a great enhancement in there. So let me dive into this just a little bit. First of all, there's properties to these. And so there's type parameters to these topo solids, which allows you to create different types of topo solids. And it works very, very similar to floors. So if you're familiar how to create a floor inside of Revit as far as using that layer structure, it's the same concept. And so we can create the structure of the topo solid. Maybe we have grass, maybe we have gravel, and then dirt, or whatever it is. We can build that up and give it thicknesses in there. These also we define the contours settings by the type properties, and so we can have different types with different contour settings in there. They are room bounding, which is nice. And so if we have a room that is going down into the ground, it will go down and it will act as a room bounding element. And it also has reporting elements that will automatically tell you the slope, the perimeter, the area, the volume, the elevation, and the top and bottom thickness and the thickness of it. And so lots of new properties in there. If we take a look at it, we also have the ability to take these topo solids and subdivide them. If we start subdividing them, we can create elements like parking or sidewalks or things like that. And it will subdivide the topo solid up and allow you to create that parking element. These parking elements must have a thickness on there, so they kind of come up from the grade of the topo solid, and we have the option in there to either display contour lines on that division, or maybe we don't want to see the contour lines on that division. But it's very easy to do, and you got the freedom to create any kind of division you want to. The other thing that's new about this is how it works with building pads. In previous releases, we had building pads to cut out the hole for our building for the pad. And that is now a retired command. That is no longer in the program. So we're not able to do that. But what we have instead, we're able just to use balloon operations with in place void mass families. And with that, we can cut out any shape we want to. So here's an example of a tunnel, a drive going down underground. That was just done by creating a in-place mass family, a void mass family, and cutting that out of the topo solid. So it's very nice, very easy to do, and you can cut out anything you want to. You're also able to use a split tool as well to divide this into separate elements if you need to. And finally, it's got the ability to act as a host. So now we can host things to this topo solid. So if we have site components or parking components or even rails, I know a lot of people use rails on sites for different reasons. We can now host that, and we'll take the angle and the shape of the topo surface, topo solid, sorry, and we're able to host things to that. So the topo solid command is pretty neat. If you haven't had a chance to play with it, take a look at it. It's a fun tool to play with. But like I said, there's many more features inside of Revit 2024. So if you want the full gamut as far as everything that's in there, I think I did a webinar earlier that's probably recorded that you can access, and you can see all the new features that I go through there. So I want to thank you. If you have any questions, let me know. But we'll turn it back over to you, Dana. And
well, that was incredible, I will say. And I love any of the new features that cut down on the amount of automations that we have to create or add-ins that we have to use. So some of those definitely are alluding to that. So love to see that.